Welcome to Critical Health News' weekly video Bright Bite with pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
I don't know, 1% to 3% of the population has tinnitus. That's millions of people deal with this incredibly annoying and unpleasant ringing in the ears. I can only imagine what that must be like. Here's the problem with tinnitus. Tinnitus isn't really a health issue as much as it's a symptom of a health issue. And that's so important that we distinguish between problems and symptoms. Symptoms are signs of problems, they're indicators of problems. You ever hear the saying, the map is not the territory? It's a famous saying from semantics where we confuse the map for the territory, we can confuse the word for what the word stands for. In other words, cat, C-A-T, is not a cat, it's a symbol for a cat. And you can't pet C-A-T. You can't pet the symbol, you can't feed the symbol. Likewise in the body, symptoms, whether they're high blood pressure symptoms, Alzheimer's disease, macular degeneration, these are representatives, pointers to health conditions, and you can no more address the pointers to the health conditions than you can pet CAT or drink WATER. See what I'm saying? We confuse the symptoms for the diseases, and that's why we're so frustrated when it comes to addressing our health challenges. In the case of tinnitus, you're dealing with an inflammatory condition. How we hear is a very complicated process that involves tiny little canals and fluid-filled structures and microscopically small hairs that vibrate and electrical energy that's generated in response to air pressure, etc. There's so many things that are involved in the hearing process that we take for granted. But if there's anything that goes wrong in that process, all kinds of things can happen, including hearing loss and including the symptoms of tinnitus. So the problem when you have tinnitus is a problem in the area where we hear. It's called the inner ear, and its connection to the area in the brain that perceives or interprets those signals. It's an inner ear problem and a nerve problem. Tinnitus is an inner ear problem and a nerve problem that is caused by the same thing that causes all chronic degenerative disease symptoms: inflammation. In the case of the inner ear, it's micro-inflammation. Now, we tend to consider or think about inflammation as a swollen ankle or a black eye. That's macro-inflammation. That's the kind of inflammation that occurs in a very large, visible way. But there's also microscopic inflammation that's imperceptible, at least visually, that over the course of time interferes with how nerve cells fire, how nutrients are absorbed, how the body defends itself, etc. So when you have tinnitus, you got the same problem that you have if you have macular degeneration, Alzheimer's disease, hypertension, or any other health challenge. You've got an inflammatory response, a micro-inflammatory response. Now, whenever you have microinflammation, that implies some kind of defense, okay? Some kind of attack, and the body is responding to that attack defensively. Inflammation is a defensive response. So no matter what your health challenge is, if it involves inflammation, and all health challenges do involve inflammation, the first thing you want to do is focus on the major and the most likely point of attack, which is the digestive system. And there is a very underappreciated link between digestive health and tinnitus, and digestive health and all inflammatory health challenges. So first and foremost, eliminate problem foods. Fasting alone may make a difference. So 24 to 48 hour fast may make a difference in your tinnitus symptoms. Certainly it will help you identify problem foods when you start eating again. In other words, you kind of hit the reset button. Stop eating for a couple days and start eating as normal, and you'll start to notice certain foods cause bloating or discomfort or constipation or loose stools, etc., heartburn. Those are foods that need to be eliminated. The second step is to strengthen the digestive tract, strengthen the gut lining using probiotics, good bacteria, the biolumin nightly essence if you're using longevity products, fermented foods. You can use digestive enzymes to help support the digestive process using apple cider vinegar with your digestive enzymes. There's a product that we sell called the Z Radical or the Fucoid Z, which has a coating effect on the intestine. Aloe vera has a coating effect on the intestinal lining. Noni juice has a coating effect on the digestive lining that can help support the integrity of the digestive tract. Bone soup with real bones, where you dissolve the cartilage in the soup or in the liquid to make a cartilage-rich soup or cartilage-rich liquid. That can help with the digestive tract. There's a wonderful amino acid called glutamine, G-L-U-T-A-M-I-N-E, that's actually fuel for the cells of your digestive tract. That can be very helpful. And then one of my favorite nutritional supplements of all is zinc, and zinc's got a couple of interesting roles that it plays when it comes to tinnitus. For one thing, zinc deficiency is associated with tinnitus. For second, zinc is important for digestive health, for the health of the digestive lining. So using zinc supplements can help too. Maybe 50 milligrams a day of zinc picolinate, Picolinate, picolinate a day. The B vitamins in general, but especially vitamin B12, which is super important for the nervous system, that can be helpful as well. You can do vitamin B12 sublingually. You can do vitamin B12 intramuscularly. And in terms of the entire B complex, you always want to drink, if possible, drink your B complex. And this is why the Beyond Tangy Tangerine can be such an effective product. Nerve cells are covered with a fatty coating. The nerve cells are particularly dependent on fats, especially essential fatty acids. So making sure that you're using your essential fatty acid supplements, make sure you take your essential fatty acids with fatty foods and also with your digestive enzymes to make sure that you're absorbing your fats. And then there's an interesting nutritional, non-nutritional supplement, medicine if you will, called aldosterone, which is actually a stress hormone, a stress management hormone. Aldosterone helps the body maintain fluid balance, helps cells and helps the blood stay appropriately fluidized. And it turns out that aldosterone deficiencies are associated with tinnitus. And there's actually Dr. Jonathan Wright who is recommending aldosterone as a prescription, and that's spelled Aldosterone, bioidentical compounded aldosterone. And he's, at least according to Dr. Wright, he gets good results using aldosterone, a prescription strength aldosterone that has to be compounded in a pharmacy. Blood sugar changes and blood pressure changes sometimes are involved with tinnitus, so making sure that you're working with your blood sugar system, using chromium and vanadium, reducing your intake of insulin spiking and blood sugar spiking foods down to a minimum, zero tolerance, ideal, but at least down to a minimum. And then also using a lot of water, drinking a lot of water after you eat sugary meals can help dilute your blood sugar. And then making sure you're oxygenated correctly. Low blood oxygen, hypoxia, is associated with nerve irritation. It's associated with hypertension, high blood pressure, both of which can be involved with tinnitus. So practicing slow, deep breathing techniques, which you'll notice, Jonty, what we just talked about is basically the same thing that you do for everything. For Alzheimer's disease, for macular degeneration. You know, you see, we're repeating the same themes. You work on the digestive system, you eliminate problem foods, you make sure you're using key supplements, stabilize the blood sugar, make sure you're practicing deep breathing techniques and relaxing the body. These are all the basic strategies that we need to take care of all our health challenges, not just tinnitus, not just Alzheimer's disease or macular degeneration, but pretty much everything.
I mean, you're absolutely right that the strategies are very similar from one condition to the next, if not almost identical.
There's not a lot of things that go wrong in the body from a causal level. There's a lot of symptoms. There's a lot of ways the bodily distress shows up. There's a lot of ways the breakdown shows up. But from a fundamental level, behind all chronic degenerative health challenges, whether it's tinnitus or Alzheimer's disease or autoimmune disease or whatever, you will find an inflammatory response. An inflammatory response is a defensive response. So the first thing to do is focus on the digestive system, which is where most of our immunity and inflammation begins. Then the blood sugar system, because sugar represents a toxicity and represents a major inducer of inflammation. And then relaxing the body using oxygenation, deep breathing techniques, muscle relaxation, etc. Last thing I should tell you, there's a relationship between the lymph system and the inner ear where tinnitus begins. So making sure, in addition to the detoxification strategies, which are important for keeping the lymph healthy, making sure you're moving your body around. Remember, lymphatic congestion follows a sedentary lifestyle, and moving the body around is the primary way that the body circulates lymphatic fluid. So keeping the lymph moving appropriately through exercise, brisk walks, get yourself a mini rebounder. Again, these are all the same strategies we talked about with other health challenges.